having a quorum, I'll go ahead and I'll call this meeting of the Nacogdoches Convention and Visitors Bureau to order. And just a reminder, we are on this Google Meets, I guess is what it's called. If you could mute your microphones when not speaking, and then when we do make our points succinct and then remute so that we're not talking over one another. Our first order of business is to consider approval of the minutes from our special meeting in August. And I'll entertain the motion there. Use hand signals as well. There we go. Got a motion from Damon. Second?
I'll second.
All right. Jack. And all in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand and waving at the camera. And I'm aye. So, all right. Approve. And with that, we'll move on to the financials and Ms. Bartlett.
Okay, you should have received the final statement for the fiscal year in your packets. The bottom line was we were negative 18,000. That's actually the fact that we pulled 20,000 out of savings to do that means that the actual loss for the year was 38,000. I noticed in the minutes, I'd kind of forgotten that we had discussed that I had already taken 20,000 out. At the time of our meeting, I had taken the 20 and that we might have to have more, and we did not have to have more. We received a couple of checks from the city for hot tax. One of them was for a smaller amount, but it was late payments. A couple of hotels from the spring were behind, and they got that finally. And then we got a rather large one for the month of July. And this is what the city is going to do from now on, is give it to us on a monthly basis. I mean, it's going to be a couple of months behind, but we're going to get it monthly instead of quarterly, which will help with our cash flow. And they just went on and started doing that. I also put the new budget on this sheet so that everybody would have it. This is the final, what was approved by y'all and by city council both, about the city's share and all that. At that point, I'll open to questions. Anybody has anything?
Cheryl, so we're not, am I reading you correctly? We're not going to have to pull 18 more thousand out of reserves to balance the budget for the year?
No, the 18 is just shows our income minus expenses that for the year we came out negative 18, but cash flow wise, we're doing okay because we got the money. I mean, I talked to John right at the end of September about should we go ahead and put the 20 back in savings, knowing that we're probably going to have it in the next, month to 6 weeks. And he said, no, don't worry about it. That actually would have, put us really close to not having very much in the bank at all as a cushion. So it's probably not a good idea anyway. But no.
Okay, any other questions for financials? If not, then we can move on to Ms. Morgan and talk about the experience guide proposal that everyone received there. And I'd just like to say real quick, I went to their website and I looked through some of the work that they've done, and it's very professionally done, very sharp looking imagery, but I'll go ahead and turn that over to Ms. Morgan.
Sherry, before you start, real quick, do we need an approval on the August minutes as well? Oh,
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
And the financials.
Okay. I apologize. I should have said August and special meeting. I did not. So yes, I will need a motion to approve the minutes for our August meeting. Got it? And a second? And all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye or wave, and we have it. Aye. And let's move on. I need a motion for approve the financials as presented. All right, I have a motion and a second. Okay, got it. And all in favor of approving the financials, signify by saying aye or waving of the hand. Thank you. And now we will move on to our experience guide proposal. Ms. Moore.
Okay, everybody should have received that PDF yesterday. Can you see my screen now? Because I can't see your faces.
No, we can't see it, Sherry.
You can't. Okay. Interesting.
I can see Sherry.
You can see me, but you can't see. Okay, now I'm presenting my screen.
How'd you do that?
There. Okay.
There we go.
Now can you see the visitor's guide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this really, we had talked about it going back when we were still meeting in the basement, this move towards an all-inclusive, instead of having so many one-off single subject brochures, moving more towards a compilation of that in one. And we did have some board discussion there, and it just happened to coincide with most recently with a cold call from Lunar Cow, who I'd spoken with during that previous time when we were considering it. And it is just a costly endeavor, and it is a big business model shift or paradigm shift for us to go towards this. And I was very candid and very upfront with Lunar Cow that we are not just working with a tight budget, but we are like legit poor. And so I was happy to listen to their presentation, but full transparency, probably wouldn't be able to act on anything. And this is an ad-driven publication, and I won't bore you with the introduction of their company and everything, but to get down to brass tacks, what they're saying is that they could deliver us, it's a 32 page, it's 2 full signatures, which would be 32 pages, and then the covers would make it 36 page, full size magazine size. What we would want to call it would be a Nacogdoches experience guide. And it would be paid for solely by ad sales that company does. We would provide them with a list of leads and contacts, and they would do the ad sales, and we would have regularly scheduled meetings to keep up with the progress of their ad sales, so that we could make adjustments accordingly if ad sales do not come in at a rate or in an amount that could offset the cost of this. This bid that they put together for us does not include copywriting or photography. So we would do all of the content ourselves, which is important to us. We certainly have the capability for that. And I myself feel more confident in something like this with us telling our stories instead of an outside third party telling our stories and addressing our guests and visitors. Not only are their estimates showing that the ad sales would cover the cost, but actually it would show a profit of about $3,000, I believe, which would offset any hidden additional cost of postage when mailing it out. In the technology section of the bid, it shows really a great usage of digital technology as well. So the ads and the content would live digitally as well as in print, and that digital content would be able to be updated in the moment. So we would always have a current experience guide, and we would be able to link to things. So if somebody called in and specifically wanted information about Azalea Trail, we could go in the experience guide on the digital version. We could send them an active hyperlink. We could email it to them, and they could just click on that and have access to it without having to go to our website, find the tab, find the link. We could make it really easy for that. And more, we are seeing that the consumption of our information is taking place digitally rather than mailing. We still do a great amount of mail outs. But we would, if we are mailing out just one experience guide instead of any number, a variable number of single subject brochures, we can better estimate the cost of those mail outs. If we know, this one magazine weighs this much, and that's going to be, what the postage is for that. But there's a great amount of flexibility in the technology section of that. And what Lunar Cow is telling me is it is this ability to update ads in the digital platform in the minute and run specials and things like that that really makes their ads really appealing to people that are looking. And the ad rates are pretty affordable. We also would have a say in Lunar Cow would provide us with what is the market value of a half-page ad or a quarter-page ad, and we would be able, it would be at our discretion to say, yes, that is reasonable for this market, or no, it's not. And we could sort of set that and look at the scale of how that would impact our price offset or in profitability. It also has an IMAP piece of technology, which would work with our website. We already have that functionality with our Visit Widget app, but this would just be another means by which people could sort of map out their itinerary, as it were. So that's it in a nutshell. The timeline for this, if we were to enter into a contract inside of the month of October, they could push it out so that we could have it for azalea season. And this would be probably a yearly. We would look to getting it where to a point where we would republish every year so that we could keep our content fresh. For COVID, we might be able to stretch that to 2 years. And but again, that's up to us. We can reorder if we run out of. This would be for, I believe, 2,500 hard copies of the experience guide. We would be able to reorder those ourselves. We would be storing them here at the CVB, and we could also get rates if there are other businesses. If the chamber wanted to order a quantity, they could order those and pay for them themselves. Or if there was one of the branded hotels, if their corporate wanted to, or well, if any of the hotels or lodging partners wanted, they wanted them in a great enough quantity to, to put them in rooms and things like that, then they would be able to purchase those through us as well. Any questions?
Yes. Hey, part of this, the part of this that I really, really like, the parts that I really, really like are the fact that we drive the content. I think you and your staff and Amy, I think that we have a strong group of writers there. Not that Wanda's retired, Shay's running the university, and I'm sick all the time, but we also have journalistic backgrounds. And I was actively writing for a local magazine 10 years ago on the side for fun, but I love that kind of thing. And I love the idea because I like to, especially now that I can't travel and I don't actually have to pay for the plans that I make, I like to plan trips. And so I like to look where I'd go, where we might stay. I'm engaged right now. So I'm looking where we might go, where we might stay, where we might eat, all of this stuff. And I'm doing it online and I'm saving notes and I'm putting things here and there, but I'm doing it all online and I'm old. I'm 46. And I consider myself a bit of a Luddite, even for a Gen Xer. You know, I was the last person to get on. I didn't have cable until spring of 2017, or internet at my home, spring of 2017. So, you know, it actually might have been 16. But I really like that. I really like that because that's how I plan my trips. If I was gonna, and I plan it like we're planning next weekend to go to Longview, pick up some barbecue and have a picnic, and maybe stop by and see some friends while we're there. And I'm planning all that out online, and so I love that we're doing that. The one thing that is a little bit of a hitch for me, and it's not that this is a bad idea. I feel like it's an old model, and it's present of mine because I just wrote the check for my chamber ad, for the big chamber book, and I think that's great. And when I moved back to town a little over 10 years ago, the first thing I did was go and get my picture taken by Clay Lostian and buy myself an ad in the chamber directory to let everybody know I was here selling insurance. But over the last 9 years, it just feels now like a financial obligation. And for much of that 9 years, what I thought that I was doing was I thought that every time I wrote the check for the chamber guide, what I was doing was I was contributing money to the chamber and getting an ad out of it. And then I found out that really what it is it's a money-making business model for advertising agencies. And so then I was like, well, I don't read the chamber guide, and anybody who's been here longer than 2 years didn't read the chamber guide. Now, this is different because this targets visitors. But now, as a community member, and you know, I think it's a brilliant idea. My ad looks great. I'm not sure that people are looking at it because it's a big book of advertisements. And that's kind of how I look at it. When I see a stack of them sitting somewhere, I know what my ad looks like because it's the same one I had last year. I don't even care where it is because I don't even think that people are really going to be looking at it because it's like a phone. It's like picking up Yellow Pages. It's just something that people don't look for businesses to do business with in Yellow Pages, and they don't look for them in ad directories, in my opinion. That's just, you know, one opinion. But they do it online. So I like the online functionality. The last thing I would want us to ever be, though, is for this to become just somebody else's $500 to $1,000 yearly obligation that gives them a stomach ache every time the reminder comes that the bill's coming in a month. And, you know, I mean, because now, even though, again, beautiful project, I felt a lot differently about it in year 1 than I do in year 10. But year 10, I'm a little bit jaded about the chamber book. And when I see them, it's not something I'm like, hey, let me go look at my ad. This is so exciting, Nacogdoches. I'm like, I don't need to see that. And I know that we run the risk. Our audience there is locals, you know, presumptively. And if I was part of the panel that they were asking to rate that program, I would say, let's move on to something else. But it being for visitors is different and it being for Nacogdoches visitors is different because a lot of our visitors are older and they're going to want they are going to want the physical guide. They want to come into the CBB and walk out with something. But the future is all going to be guided the way that I'm traveling now, I think. And so the idea of keeping up, you know, I mean, what it'll end up being is we're going to make a lot of money for an advertising agency in some other town because what they're going to do is republish this thing every year. You know, we'll love it the first time and every time it needs updating. And then all the people that are paying for ads in it, you know, they may or may not, but over time, they're going to, you know, every year they're going to get tired of being like, do I really need to pay $1,500 for a full page ad every year for this thing? I think it's the exact same as last year. So I think it's great. I think ours would be different because we have journalists, and there's a lot of journalists working on the chamber booklet too. There's a lot of talented journalists working on the chamber booklet too. I want to say that. but we would be putting content in that we are getting people to take action. People who are just here and the moment is now and they're reading it. And the online piece will become very valuable. But as we explore this, my one thing is, I just don't want us to become that other thing. And then there to be two of them that I have to do every year and look at sitting stacks of every year. And I don't want other people to feel that way either about what we're doing. But that's my 2 cents. But I like it. And I want to hear more about it as we move in that direction.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Damon.
Sarah,
Sherry, I have a couple of questions on here. So currently our brochures, our rack of brochures that we have at the CVB, how many of those do we produce and pay for, and how many do the entities that they represent produce and pay for? Do you have that?
I do not have that in front of
Well,
me now.
I guess the purpose for that is because this that we're discussing would take the place of many of those individual pieces of collateral, correct? So it
Yes.
would be in a more of a succinct one-stop shop, if you will, for that. And then also this lives digitally, and as you stated earlier, there is some interactive ability to it as well. So so if we have on our website we have the link, you can go in there and you see Azalea Trails. You can click on Azalea Trails and it gives you the information. Is that correct? Right.
Correct. Yeah.
And then do you happen to know what range the cost of ads would be?
They would start as low for a quarter page. And again, we set the price, but it was, I think the market price for a quarter page started at $250 and went up to 400, like $398, almost $400. So not outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, even in our situation currently, fiscally, we could handle a $250 quarter page ad.
Okay.
And especially if we would be able to update the content, digitally.
Okay. Right. And then again, we do control our content, but the responsibility of ads and selling of the ads to individuals, that is the company's responsibility. We have no part in that, correct?
Our only
Our
role in ad sales would be to come up with a lead list and names of contacts if we have them. And then I would probably contribute a letter sort of authenticity to say, yes, this Lunar Cow company is acting on behalf of the Nacogdoches CVB, and this is what this would go towards, that kind of thing. But the actual sales, I was very clear because we have tried an ad-driven thing, sales brochure with our Eat Like a Local, and that turned into a headache really, really quickly. And Joanna really had to step up. So I lost staff time selling ads for a brochure. So I was very, very clear that would not be the case in this, that's not anything that we would even entertain going through the presentation.
And I'll say on the chamber book, I only ever have dealt with the advertising agency in that. Like, I think the chamber, it's a turnkey operation. And since this is a pretty solid business model that they do all over, they've got one in Houston when you go to there, but it's an ad book with content from their, one of their CBB type organizations. But I think it's pretty turnkey. What I want to make sure is that, and what the ads are going to cost is probably exactly what ads in the chamber book cost. Because again, we're talking about a remarkably similar business model. I just want to control the content, make sure it's good, and not a yellow pages.
Yeah, no, and even from the samples, they did send some samples over, and a lot of them were very directory looking, and that is not at all my vision. It is, and I love that it's not just that we have the control over content, because that's not really a big ask to be able to have editorial, um, to be able to shape the words of somebody else, but we would create that content. So our niche in tourism is just our inherent natural beauty. And so ours would be very visually driven, with great photography sourced out locally, and the information that they need to have. And yeah, so Sarah asked a question over in the comment section about if I have any idea what it would cost if the ad revenue falls short. I don't know exactly a number, like a percentage wise. It probably what would happen, and when they're dealing in signatures, so we would probably have to cut back, instead of having 2 full signatures, maybe for this first time do 1 signature and see how that is. And that's still plenty of content, but I felt like we had enough information, and especially if we did want more of a magazine editorial style, with advertisements looking more like advertorials, then we would probably need some more page space on there. But yeah, that's where it is. But yeah, they seemed very, very confident. But again, I'm not naive. I was born on a Wednesday, but not yesterday. I know that they were trying to sell me something. And the other
Sharon?
thing is, yes, sir.
Now, this is something that we're going to use to send out. This would not be for distribution in the center there.
No, sir, we would have copies on hand that people could come in and pick up, just like it would replace our visitor's guide, the brochure that we have.
Do you think 2,500 is going to be enough, considering what all you send out and visitor's guide?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if not, it is significantly less expensive to reorder, because there's no, it's just printing at that point. So we would be able to, but what we would want to avoid is having too many leftovers on hand. So it'd be better to run out and have to reorder than have a lot sitting on that you're just going to have to recycle at the end of the day.
So a reorder would not constitute a great deal of time then?
No, sir.
Okay. I would suggest, I'm sure that the Ruckle Insurance Company would want to buy a full page ad.
That was my takeaway. Yes, sir.
We can't say no is the problem.
Well, and we have spent years, I think a lot of the work, when the CVB is doing their job well, I think that success is seen through the relationships that we build. And this is the first year, in my knowledge, that we have not purchased an ad in the chamber's map or directory, and that is just a reflection of our financial situation. So now is the time, really, that the past generosity of the CVB to our community and the partnership that we played and our dynamic and the relationships that we've built, this is our turn to ask. Like, we need your help to make this happen. And it is not complete charity. Like, they're going to be getting a lot of bang for their buck and a lot of exposure. All that being said, there is absolutely nothing wrong with what we're doing right now. Like, we can keep going with the brochures that we're doing. They're beautiful. People love them. We get compliments on them all the time. Now might not be the time to do this. I really brought this to you for board direction. And this is just one company. Like, this wasn't something that I went out and tried to find 3 companies that did this. This was just sort of serendipitous, and it came to us. And I didn't know if in this time, and in a few minutes, we'll go over the scope of work for this year. If this is something that board is interested in doing, then certainly we can pursue this further. By no means am I saying we have to act on this specific Lunar Cow proposal. I have talked with their other clients that they provided us, and they were very happy with the end product, but that's not to say that there's not another company or that this is the right time to do it. But again, just looking for board direction. And this is, Chris and I have spoken about it, and Ashley and I have spoken about it. You know, my 5-year plan, this is absolutely a direction that I want to go in, because what I see all too often is people come in and say, tell me about Nacogdoches. And then they, you know, we kind of are put in a position to read their mind or anticipate what they might like, and then pull single subject brochures for them. And you kind of don't know what you don't know. So if we had an all-inclusive, you know, multi-subject experience guide, then maybe they came for the oldest town in Texas and completely didn't know that we were also the garden capital, or, you know, so there's some opportunity to convert into some other of our niche markets in something that's multi-subject.
Yes, Wanda. You're muted, Wanda.
You have to mute on the bar on the bar that pops up on the bottom, not on your picture.
Okay, how about the first word? Sounds like, you know, no, okay. Okay.
Wanda, just put
Real
it
quick,
on part of your screen, I think, and it just put it on the 2 inches up from. Put your cursor up 2 inches
There,
up.
I got it. I got it.
there we go. Awesome.
Sorry, it kept jumping up and down on me. Sorry. Sherry, I know you've told us this before. You just mentioned that it was going to replace the visitor's guide, but can you just kind of give a quick rundown of what other publications it would replace? Just
Sure. So we have a visitor's guide. We have another single subject brochure that covers the oldest buildings in town. We have a statue trail brochure. We have an RV park brochure. We have an Oak Grove Cemetery brochure. If
Azalea
Garden Capital, that's not
Okay.
one that we publish, the Garden Capital one, quite frankly. But certainly any experience guide that we would put out would include that. But
and this would replace all of those.
As many as is feasible. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was the main thing I was trying. That sounds like a very cost-effective kind of thing, but that.
Well, and a lot of it, you know, there is some content that is more evergreen than others, but we wouldn't want to lock a subject into this format, to this model, if their content changes more frequently than we could adequately or appropriately represent, you know. So they might be better served with a single subject brochure on the out so that they can accommodate their changing content, you know.
Okay. Sorry for the delay.
No, you're perfect. It's fine. So any other board direction? Is this something, do you want me to pump the brakes on this and just start doing research on it? You want me to forget about it? What do you want me to do?
Well, Sherry, I think, and given our current financial situation, that this is something that we need to definitely pursue. And perhaps whenever you do something like that, like this, it is best to get alternative bids or alternative proposals. So I would be in favor of looking to do that, to get some competing proposals and just see where we're at. But this is something I think that we really need, and it condenses a lot of collateral, but it also, the main thing for me is that it lives digitally, and we are in an age of where that is more and more going to be the way people search and shop and such. So that functionality is very appealing.
And I want to add, just because I have concerns doesn't mean that I am discouraging this project at all. I love it, or I like it, and I love the part what John said, the digital component, because I think that is the future. And so if you do look at other bids. I would say that this is a concept we should pursue, whether it's with this company or not. I haven't had a chance to look at all of their stuff yet. But I think that when we pursue other bids, maybe look at some that are, and this group may be one, but is more forward thinking and is going to, because I'll like, again, I hate to keep going back to this, but with the other guy, I've never been directed online. So if we were investing, what I would be curious what we're getting for our dollar is how much of the digital and the progressive content. I do think that those things need to be those pamphlets need to be consolidated. I will buy an ad, especially in the first one, and I bet Wanda will too. Because everybody's going to be reading it, and it is going to be really sharp. I just want, I'm very excited about the first one. I just want to make sure that the company is willing to partner with us to maintain current, usable, and not just advertising online content. So that it is for people like me who are looking to take a day trip and do a barbecue and a picnic, see one historical site, and roll out of town. Maybe grab a bottle of wine or some beers from a local brewery and roll out of town. So I'm excited about it. I don't want to be the person who said, "Oh, we didn't really pursue that because Damon was so negative about it." But that's all I wanted to add.
All right, very good. And just in closing, this would be like I think the value they place on it is around $26,000 project to deliver the 2,500 in total. And again, that price would be offset by the ad sales. But I will go ahead and start to move forward, looking for some other companies that offer similar things, and we'll come back to you and report back later on that progress then.
Awesome. Thank you, Sherry. And if there's no further discussion on this subject, we'll move on to our scope of work for our year here.
Yes. So I've mentioned it before, but 2021 marks the 25th anniversary of the Convention and Visitors Bureau operating outside of the Chamber of Commerce. And that's going to be our local press for donations and just our, our residential. That's going to be what this year is all about. That's always going to be our touchstone. And that will be seen through our Love Letters campaign, Love Letters to NAC. We are having difficulty getting people to submit those. So I definitely would like a letter of at least friendship from board members and your friends and families. And I'm going to write one and let Ashley publish it. We did get a submission from somebody from SFA, and it was great, and she pushed it out on social media. So we need to make that a really cool thing to do. Also, this year in the anniversary, it was something that I wanted to do last year, but we just didn't have the time to do it. I do want to some way celebrate Mr. Bright's birthday. It's on March 22nd. It would have been his 94th birthday, but have some kind of open house or something that we can do affordably that will honor his memory and sort of refresh the memories of those that this has sort of just become wallpaper, that our building is named after him, but also introduce him to people that are unaware of the contributions that he's made, not only to the CVB, but to the Nacogdoches community. And then our micro campaign of making history will be well within the scope of work in our marketing efforts. And we're going to take the time in 2021, while we're saving money, to fully explore the full functionality of our digital properties and assets, so that we are getting every dime's worth of usage out of our meltwater subscription, every iota out of our app, and that we just really are feeling the full power of the tools that the city is gifting us through the subsidy to be able to keep, um, and hoping that that helps us meet this new target audience of millennials and Gen Zers. But that's pretty much it. Keep on keeping on.
All right. Thank you, Sherry. And we do have a good year, I feel, ahead of us, and we're gonna continue this continue our march towards normalcy at some point. But I appreciate the efforts there. And with those efforts, let's talk about some staff reports, huh?
Am I up? Is it my turn? Okay.
You're up, Miss Simple.
Yay. Okay. Well, I hope you guys associated this movie Knack at Night with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We made the front page yesterday. It was a very successful event, and we hope will be a cash cow moving forward. We partnered with the airport, who understands that what we're creating is specific to the CVB. We are looking to own the airport actually for this event and any other future events that we have. This was one that we also partnered with the library because they were and still are having any big read, whatever it is, events, and this gave us an opportunity to work out all the logistics. It went like clockwork. We had lighting in the porta potties. I mean, we were rocking it. So it looks like we're going to have a minimum of 100 vehicles out there. We sold 103 tickets. 85 folks showed up. This was a free event, mainly because it was under the library, and it gave us, again, that chance to make sure that everyone left happy as we worked out, again, making it great for next time. Our hope, and I'm just going to put it out there because it is something that I'm going for, we want to clear $1,000 for the CVB every event. So our hope is to push out December. We will have adult movies. Sponsorships are king. We want to have 4 events beginning the Saturday after Thanksgiving. They will be adult movies, and I say that with lots of love because we are recruiting and going to be promoting to visitors. Couples that are traveling, get away for the weekend. It's not that we don't love us some family, but we want to, again, try to create a destination purpose for folks to come to, and this would be it. We have some other ways that we're going to be layering not only the movies. I think Sherry may have mentioned, I know we have talked about doing some concerts out there at the airport. So again, just it's a multiplier of a minimum $1,000. And if it were a perfect world and I were to do 12 in a calendar year, that's $12,000. If we can do more, that's king. And speaking to the board, in addition to the advertising piece, the sponsors that we currently have are some of the folks in town that aren't and haven't been normally hit upon by other groups. I kind of want to continue that. This is an opportunity for these sponsors to grab onto something and not sell themselves, but to, in many ways, sell their community. This goes hand in hand with everything that we're doing, Love Letters By. We're going to allow sponsors, and we want them to, instead of a commercial, just talk to us about who they are in the community, what this opportunity brings for them, and let people see the good news and the good word and how we work together in Nacogdoches and why this is so important for all of us. The hangar that we painted out there isn't perfect, but it looks amazing compared to where we started. We've already got agreement that we're going to actually raise it. So if you could imagine, it's right like this. So I'm calling it my Dumbo ears, where we're going to go like that. So it actually raises the screen so the view will be perfect from everywhere. Ashley is looking into a app we do have where you can turn in and get your sound right now, just a frequency box that Sherry purchased for us. everything we're touching, we want to have either paid for or profit clear on this event, because it takes a lot of work to do these, and I'm getting old, and my job is sales, and by golly, we're going to make some sales. So looking forward to that. Secondly, we are this close to securing, or at least having a better working relationship, or just a relationship period, and working with the city and getting some other event models approved. You know, obviously with COVID, every day is a new day. We're going to follow all of the social distancing requirements. The neat thing is that when we're ready to go, I mean, through this process, we will be ready to go at a moment's notice. So one of those programs, I'm calling it the Outdoor Back Porch Concert Series. It just allows us to have smaller groups, listen to live music on our backstage. The city map guys are actually writing out a plat or a layout for me, telling me how many seats or butts in the area. We're going to figure it out, and we're gonna bring everyone through the CVB, because I want them to buy product. I want them to see who we are. As Sherry said, a neat introduction back to our Charles Bright building and person, and just letting folks know that are from here just to newly, and sometimes we meet people every day that have never been in our building. So we're going to have events again run through through us, and then we will manage our events out in the back. And then another final thing is we're working on again, and Ashley may have more to say about this as well. She introduced the 9 Flags, 9 Weeks campaign. How that helps all of us, especially in sales as well and promotions, is I've always been jealous how Nacogdoches seems to have their fourth quarter planned in frickin' January before the actual event. And so what this 9 weeks allows us to do is, like this year, it's simply a layover campaign over the shops, in all shops, but we're working with Main Street specifically because they have a lot of events that they will be plopping under this umbrella, but it's open to everyone. I've got some ideas for the hotels, you know, other entities and how they can play. But the idea is it's the holiday season. It does kick off with Halloween, but being that the name is 9 Flags, 9 Weeks, we're not stuck in the Christmas arena, and we can get sales hopefully popping for everyone in Nacogdoches, but also position us as a shopping destination and featuring specific stores. And that's where Ashley comes in. She will soft sell all of our unique places, whatever they may be. And then it allows us again to get a head start on 2021, still conscious of our COVID situation, but people can shop, and that's where we're going to start. So it gives us an opportunity to also get back to our 9 Flags, where we can feature the history part of it, make it hipstery to our Gen X's and Gen Z's and millennials. And so we're excited to be working on that as well. And that'll be a great visual, especially for ages, 90 and below. And Ashley can tell you how she's going to work on that. But that's sales and promotions. Any questions?
All right. Thank you. Yeah, any questions for Ms. Temple? Awesome. Thank you, Joanna.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor, or you have a friend or a neighbor that would like to sponsor and get involved, please let me know.
Absolutely. All right. All right, Ashley Morgan. Ms. Morgan, you are up.
Joanna covered everything I was going to say. No, I'm just kidding. The big thing is love letters, and Sherry mentioned that as well. We have not received nearly as many as we wish we had. And I do think out of everyone in the city, it would be most important to get them from you, our board members. I dropped a link in the chat box, and it's where we have our information about the love letters as well as a writing prompt. So if you are having writer's block, or you just need something to help get you started, it's just a couple kind of template questions saying, were you born here? Have you had any, special life events here, stuff like that. So if you could please get those letters to me, that would be amazing. We need them by November 1st. And tell your friends and tell your coworkers and everyone. We want a bunch of these. Like we said, we want to make a book out of these. And we can't make a book out of 4 letters. So please get those to me. The other thing I was going to talk about is 9 weeks of Christmas. So we are planning to just showcase all of the fabulous retail options that we have here and kind of tie it into shop local, shop Knack first, give back to our community because we know our small businesses are hurting right now from the lack of COVID or sales to COVID. And so we'll be starting that on October 26th because that's exactly 9 weeks to Christmas. And also, we are going to be pairing with Main Street to help put on their Merry Christmas Market event, which will be the weekend that Holiday in the Pines should have been, but unfortunately got canceled. And the boutiques or the downtown businesses are just going to be open later and having sales and additional vendors inside their stores. So we'll be promoting that. And then on Small Business Saturday, that's the Saturday after Thanksgiving, I believe. And so that's when Wassail Fest would have been. And unfortunately, that's not COVID safe. So the only wassail that will be available will be inside the CVB. And so that's a good way to get everyone inside, see what we're about, and then we'll push them to the downtown businesses. So we're looking to make Christmas happen and make it a thing because everyone is like begging for something to do right now. And then, I've been working with Joanna on the drive-in movie. That was really interesting. We had quite a few people try to scalp tickets and resell them. That was really interesting because it was free. But we'll take that as a sign of success. And we're excited to see how far we can go with this. We are hoping to be able to do some tickets in person so that some of our residents that aren't on Facebook and stuff like that can get a chance to get tickets as well. But I'm really excited about it. It was a great photo opportunity. Like Joanna said, it was on the front page of the newspaper. And so it's been getting a lot of love and a lot of traction on all social media. So I'm excited for people to see that Nacogdoches is like the cool town that brings things like the drive-ins back and stuff like that. And I encourage you to go look at our Facebook page at the most recent love letter that I posted just because it was about a girl who went to college here and she met the love of her life. And it's just a really sweet thing. And I think you'll find some inspiration there. So with that, does anyone have any questions for me? Nope. And then I guess I'll give Mike's report for him. He said he didn't have very much to tell y'all, but just that visitors are, we are getting more visitors in. We have visitors in right now. That's why I'm kind of quiet. So yeah, things are looking better for us. So thank y'all.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley. Look forward to more of the drive-ins. It was it created a lot of talk. So that was I'll have to get my tickets early next time, huh? Does anyone have any other questions? Anything that we discussed? Or I guess we're going to get further information and explore this experience guide proposal. But if nothing else, then I will designate November 19th, Thursday, as our next meeting at 8:30 a.m. And with that, call adjournment to the meeting. Thank y'all all very much, and let's continue to be a good part of making Nacogdoches successful. And appreciate that everyone's work, Sherry, and what y'all do, and just keep doing it. And we will see you next bat time. That's Bat Station. All right. Bye.